There was a young man named Ryan who lived in New York with his wife, Emily. Ryan came from a wealthy family in America, but his ancestors had originally come from Romania generations ago. His family owned a massive ancestral mansion back in the Transylvanian countryside that had been abandoned for years. Ryan's parents refused to talk about the mansion. Whenever he asked, they changed the subject. There were rumors in the family that the place was cursed, that something terrible had happened there. But Ryan didn't believe in superstitions. He was a psychiatrist, a man of science and logic. When Ryan and Emily decided to visit Europe for their honeymoon, he thought it would be interesting to see the old family mansion. Against his parents' warnings, they traveled to Romania and arrived at the enormous estate in the mountains. The mansion was incredible. Hundreds of rooms, tall pillars, intricate carvings, and a sprawling courtyard. But there was one room on the upper floor that was locked with heavy chains and padlocks. The caretaker, an old man who had worked there for decades, warned them strictly never to open that room. He said it had been sealed for 40 years and must never be disturbed. Emily was curious. She asked why, but the caretaker refused to explain. He just kept saying it was dangerous. Ryan, being rational, thought this was ridiculous. He figured the room probably had structural damage or something practical like that. One afternoon, while exploring, Emily found the keys to the room hidden in an old drawer. Her curiosity got the better of her. She unlocked the heavy door and stepped inside. The room was frozen in time. Dust covered everything. There was a large bed, a mirror, old jewelry, and women's clothing from decades ago. It looked like someone had lived there and then suddenly disappeared. Emily felt a strange chill, but didn't think much of it. She left the room and locked it again. That night, everything changed. Emily started acting strangely. She would stare blankly at nothing. She began speaking in a different voice, deeper and angrier. One moment she was normal, the next she was someone else entirely. She claimed her name was not Emily, but Katerina, and she spoke with a thick Romanian accent, even though Emily had never been to Romania before. Ryan was confused and worried. The servants were terrified. They whispered that Katerina was the spirit that had been locked in that room. She was a dancer who lived in the mansion 40 years ago, and something horrible had happened to her. Ryan refused to believe it. He thought Emily was having a psychological breakdown, maybe a dissociative episode. He tried to treat her himself using therapy techniques.
But nothing worked.
Emily, or whoever she had become, grew more violent. She attacked servants, destroyed furniture, and danced wildly through the mansion at night, laughing and singing old Romanian folk songs. The family called in a renowned psychiatrist from Bucharest, Dr. Michael Harrison, who specialized in unusual psychological cases. Michael arrived and observed Emily carefully. He noticed her behavior patterns, the way she switched personalities, the things she said. After studying her for days, he concluded this was an extreme case of possession or perhaps a severe dissociative disorder triggered by trauma. But the locals believed something else. They believed that Katerina's spirit had been trapped in that room for 40 years, and by opening the door, Emily had released her. Now Katerina's angry spirit had possessed Emily's body. Michael decided to try a different approach. He researched the history of the mansion and discovered the truth about Katerina. She had been a beautiful dancer who performed at aristocratic gatherings across Eastern Europe. She fell in love with a nobleman who lived in the mansion, but the nobleman was already engaged to Katerina's own sister. When Katerina found out, she was consumed by jealousy and rage. On the night before the wedding, she tried to kill her sister. The nobleman stopped her, and in the struggle, Katerina fell from the balcony and died. Her spirit, filled with anger and betrayal, began haunting the mansion. People heard her singing and dancing at night. Objects moved on their own. Terrified, the family eventually locked her spirit in that room using religious rituals, sealing it for decades. Now she was free and she wanted revenge. Michael knew he had to act fast. He devised a plan. He would use psychological techniques combined with the family's belief in the supernatural to trick the spirit. He organized an elaborate exorcism ceremony, gathering the whole family and the townspeople. During the ritual, Michael confronted Katerina directly. He spoke to her through Emily's body, addressing her pain, her betrayal, her anger. He acknowledged her suffering, but told her she needed to let go. He used a combination of hypnosis, suggestion, and theatrical performance to convince the spirit that it was time to leave. The ceremony was intense. Emily thrashed and screamed. The room shook, candles flickered, and then, suddenly, Emily collapsed. When she woke up, she was herself again. She had no memory of anything that had happened. Ryan and Emily left Romania immediately. The room was sealed again, this time with even stronger locks. Michael returned to Bucharest, knowing he had solved the case, though he never quite admitted whether he believed it was truly a spirit or just a severe psychological condition. Some mysteries, he thought, are better left unexplained. The mansion stood quiet once more, but the locals still avoided it, and the room upstairs remained locked, its secrets buried once again in darkness.